G'day and welcome to the Infrunners. I'm XQ, joined today by the Astropub and Algrid. Just to kick off the video, if you would like to win a Fury, we're going to be giving one of those away. All you have to do is like this video, subscribe, and leave a comment in the video below. And if you come by the live stream next week when we draw it, and you're there when we draw it, you'll get a skin of your choice as well. All right, now that's out of the way. We're up to Mirai and Misk Day. This is pretty stock standard one. There's nothing really special here. It's just going through the ships and kind of talking about them. They don't even have any paints like we've seen a lot this week. It just kind of shows how much they've been working that they haven't even made paints, which is a fairly easy process. Do you think there's any surprises here today, guys, or is this going to be kind of very stock standard?
I think the big surprises are set aside for tomorrow, so I think this is just a basic.
All right, Algrid. We're going to get you to kick it off because, you know, we're never going to shut you up about it. So get started. Come on, chop, chop.
With the Endeavor?
Yeah, go, Algrid, come on.
I was just scrolling through the ships.
Oh,
that were available.
so unprepared. All right, that's unlike you. Come on. Tell me about the Endeavor. You don't need to see the Endeavor to tell me about it. Come on.
All bow before the Holy Grail of the Endeavor. It is like chasing the Holy Grail, because it is going to be the last ship that's made. But the Endeavor is by far the best ship you'll find. $350 for the base Endeavor. It is an absolute steal. We know it's going to double in size. If you look at the Endeavor Hope, which is the version for hospital with the hangar attached, that hangar is big enough for 2 Cutlass Reds. That is the size of that large hangar pad on the Kraken. That gives you an indication of the size of that hangar's supposed to be, which also gives you a size of a ship for scale. It is going to balloon. It is absolute bee's knees, but it is a Swiss Army knife. The number of modules that come for this ship enable it to do hydroponics, hospital, astrophysics, modular changing. It's, you name it, it can do it. Yeah, that's about all I can say without gushing forever.
Paul?
What I miss, Paul?
I think you hit it. It's one of those things where this is going to double in size, if not triple in size. It's going to be the same size as about a Javelin. Javelin is what, $2,000, and this thing's going to be about the same size, and it's
so real quick,
currently 350.
A Javelin is 480. With Grim Starjump, who does a lot of the 3D model stuff, we worked out that it's basically got to be 420 meters minimum. So it's 60 meters short of a Javelin.
Yeah, there's very few ships that are even that close to a Javelin. I don't think there's any ship that's that close to a Javelin. So,
and that's the minimum. That's the minimum.
That's the minimum. And you got to understand when we say something like that, we don't mean like, oh, this ship is, we're prophesizing that it's going to happen. No, CIG has to make these bigger to support the gameplay, and because they have to do things like NPCs walking around. Like, they built this in a time when this ship was, when they had messed up metrics and they had to fix those metrics. So as a result, we're now sitting in a time period where this is going to have to be bigger. Everyone knows it, but CIG doesn't want to look at it until they actually have, like as Algrid said, towards the end of the game, pretty much towards the end of development. This is going to be the last ship ever developed, and as a result,
Sorry, Paul. That was one of the things I also said right at the beginning when they brought it out. This is going to be the last ship we build. It's that type of thing. So it's not something they've brought on later on to say it's the last. It was something that I was saying right from the beginning.
From the beginning, because they knew how much it's basically all of the gameplay loops have to be finished for it to exist. And so when we say we're called the Endeavor, we're talking about, okay, so this ship, $350 ship, is going to get almost as big as a $2,000 ship. There's no way this is going to stay at 350. It's almost certainly going to go up above 1,000. So,
so this is the ship that we rant and rave about. And to summarize it really quickly, it is for the price to the size it's going to grow, plus all the different types of gameplay you're going to get. You are getting more gameplay for dollar value than simply any other ship in the game. That is the easiest
It's a
way
civilian capital ship.
Yeah. And it just offers so much exploration to agriculture, to science and medical, just all
almost
over
certainly
the shop.
to the new crafting mechanics, because we know the new crafting mechanics are in there.
The
so,
Super Collider,
with
you
the
can
cycle,
go, you can go look at the modules. They will be available today for purchase, but not with LTI. We don't recommend the modules. We recommend you earn them in game. And again, it'd actually work out cheaper to buy 2 of these than actually buy all the modules. It's kind of crazy. And everything Paul and Algrid said is absolutely spot on. I don't need to continue that, but this is why we are called the Cult of the Endeavor, because we just absolutely praise this ship.
Gosh.
Because and all you have to do is spend $10, get a Gemini to Endeavor CCU, and you can lock it in, and and just sit there on that $10. And if it ever goes up in price or doesn't, then you're not risking anything other than that $10, which can always melt and add to another ship. So that's your investment, $10, and you're done.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on.
And yeah, I'll just add, because we had a lot of people when we talked about this on the captain's table last time. A lot of people was like, why would you want this? It's like, because you can do any gameplay you want with it. Like I know it's all $350, but no, $10. It's all it costs. It's $10, and you can melt that and get it something else if you need to, if you decide you want to change your mind. But
so
it's a fantastic deal.
So if we're that crazy, all we're asking you to do is invest $10, as Paul said, and yes, you have to build it out to 350, but that means you'll never have to go beyond that 350 when it does eventually go up in price. And we always get that question: when is it going to go up? And it's like, well, when they decide to, because
we've been expecting it for years. Every year, every IA, we expect it to come out. Which is an episode we've got called "This is the last chance to get an Endeavor."
Yeah, so go watch that episode, because that goes into detail on the Endeavor. So without us going on about it more, last chance for the Endeavor. Right, Paul, the Expanse.
I hate the Expanse. I hate the name. I think it's. I like the idea of the ship, but it's definitely an early game ship, because it's a really niche profession ship, because it's designed to work with salvage and mining, both of them together. But it specifically is a support ship. It's like an SRV. If you're getting an SRV, you're supporting other things, other gameplay. It's the same thing, and it's the same price as the SRV, so it kind of fits that sort of niche. So
I'd agree with you on that. I think basically you got the Galaxy for, it's a bit more than double, but again, you get that modularity in the Galaxy, and that's the large one. We don't know what the medium one does, but there's also a capital, and generally, just small ships just don't hold their value. So I'd agree with you absolutely on that. Algrid?
Big, small refineries versus 3 small refineries on a Starfarer versus 2 small refineries as we saw on the Arastra, and two large refineries on the
Galaxy. Oh, we lost him. I would just say, though, real quick, before he comes back, it's not confirmed the size of the refineries on the Arastra, but I do agree with him that it's probably going to be small. Go ahead, Agrid. I was just saying that while you were in limbo.
So true, 100% what you just said. But looking at the pictures of the Arastra's refineries versus the Galaxy refineries, they look.
They're definitely physically smaller. Yeah. So long story short,
it'll service.
It's the start of the profession. Wait for bigger ones to come along, or get something bigger. It's just not in a good place, as Paul said. All right, Algrid, do you want to chuck these 3 alliances together? I think we can do that, and then just tell the difference. So I'll let you kick those off, and tell us which one's your favorite variant, and I'll then ask Paul the same.
Freelancer's one of the first 5 ships. Often said to look like a flying dildo, or whatever you want to call it. I'm not really a fan of them. As I said when we took them out recently, I don't tend to fly it, just because I find it sluggish. But the interior of each of them they've been tweaked. They all look different. It's a nice ship. My biggest beef is it's got 4 seats, but I don't. It doesn't seem to fit as a 4-person ship like a Connie. It seems too small for that. It feels like it's more a Cutlass than a Connie, and it just seems overcrewed in that regard. So
yeah. Where would you? What's
the
your?
Max is by far the better one.
You reckon it's the Max? Yeah, cool. What about you, Paul? What's
Better cargo.
what's your favorite variant before we kick it off, and then we can flick to yours?
All of freelancers are my favorites, but if I have to choose my favorite variant, I'd say the Miss.
The misery, as I call it.
The misery.
Yep.
The reason why is because it's one of those few kind of missile boats that has range. Most of them don't. They're either dedicated bombers with range, or they're like larger ships, like the Connie, which has tons of missiles. This thing has significant amounts of damage output that it can do. And the thing is that likely in the future, you're not going to be able to tell the difference between a freelancer Dur, and a freelancer Miss on your radar. So if a pirate comes up and it's like, oh, it's a flock of freelancers, I can attack them and ambush them. Suddenly shows up and like 4 of the 6 freelancers are misses, and now there's a missile spam everywhere, and you're dead. So
yeah,
it's definitely one of those ships that's.
I was just going to say it's definitely the most interesting or the most bespoke of the freelancer variants.
Yeah, but it still works as a freelancer. Like everything else, it still works for it. So
yeah. I kind of think a lot of these variants, I find it very hard to pick one. Because I all think they have a unique place, and we kind of have to wait for the games here. So you guys both talked about those two. So I'm going to talk about the Dur. And now we've got the ES that's come along from the Zeus. We actually do have a challenger to this finally. But up until now, its real claim to fame was it's the smallest kind of explorer, or the largest explorer that can go through a small jump point. Now, I do believe the Zeus will be able to do that as well, because they're the same metrics. It's just which one is better at what. And I would say, based on just looking at what this got, this seems to be the long range variant, where the other one seems to be more not quite the same. So I think this might still be the better of the two to go through jump points, but again, interest of time, we'll have to wait and see for a lot of that stuff. But yeah, they've fallen a little bit out of love in recent years, but I do think with a gold pass they'll really come up to snuff with the rest of them. But I think you both agree with me, it's still an earning game for me at this point because of their pricing.
I think it's a good daily driver. I think if someone wants to purchase it, with cash, any of them are fine purchases with cash as a daily driver.
If it's your first ship,
I would say there's
absolutely. I've got no problem with it as a first ship, but if it wouldn't be your second or third ship because you're trying to go,
if you're looking for something, you're like, hey, I need to upgrade from my Aurora package to something I'm going to use more frequently and improve. That's a single player, but also multiplayer. This is a genuine competitor to the Cutlass. I think this one and the Cutlass and the C series or the Spirit series are all in that same sort of vein, just whatever flavor you like.
Yeah.
So, and they're about the right price. So,
yeah. If you want to learn more about these medium, if you want to learn more about these medium ships, me and Algrid did do a guide on this recently called a medium ship comparison. Algrid?
Yeah. I was going to say the missile loadout often is comparable to the Cutlass as well. But they've both got those MSD racks, which means you can often swap the racks around and change the missile loadout. But yeah, comparing the missiles to a Connie, the Connie has more missiles, but they're always size 1, size 2. The Miss and the Freelancers and the Cutlass, they can change their loadout up, so they can go size 4, size 3, size 2, size 1, depending on the rack you actually attach. So versatility is your jam with the Freelancers.
All right.
So yeah.
Moving on, the Hull A, the start of the whole series, I guess. I kind of see this as the Planet to Space Station type of cargo ship. I think it's for the money. It's a really good amount of cargo that it carries, comparable to other ships around there. I think the closest would be the Nomad, and the Nomad is it $80, Algrid, for the Nomad at the moment?
80 or 90.
Yeah, somewhere in there. So it's very comparable in price.
Yeah, somewhere like that.
So if you were really into the cargo jam and you don't really care about carrying around an RSI miner, a rock, not an RSI, a rock, then this would be the way to go. Paul, your thoughts on the Hull A?
I think it's a station to ground or planet to planet transport. It's not something you're going to do multi-planetary. Just you don't have enough cargo to really to deal with that. Or it's like a nice little, starter version of everyone's favorite sort of ships. So yeah, that's just kind of it.
Yeah, it is for the starter outers. Algrid?
It's an advanced starter. That's, you've got your starter ships with starter packs, and then you've got the ones that come with, the ones with a bit more gameplay following a profession. And this is your advanced starter for cargo hauling.
Yep.
Everything else the guys said, 100%. Yep.
All right, Algrid, same thing again. Hull B, just more cargo, really, isn't it? I think. And $50
Hull
on
B,
top.
slightly upmarket.
Yeah.
Slightly bigger. Yeah, pretty much the same.
Also not out yet, Paul, is it? So it's still
Nope.
to come in the game.
I would say that it's if the Hull A is a planet to planet in a single system, the Hull B is from star system to star system, but just like one. It's slightly more advanced, but you're not doing multi-system jumps with these things. Because you can still land on planets.
I think it's more,
but you may not be able to land on planets.
I think it's more planet. I think it's more planet to planet. I don't think it's system to system, and I'll explain why as we go up the tree. Because I think the whole C is literally station to station. So station to planet for Hull A, planet to planet with the Hull B, station to station with the Hull C, and then cross systems with the Hull D, and then multiple systems with the Hull E. And I think that's how they've been designed. But hey, interest of time. We may just have to wait and see.
I disagree. That's all I'll say.
No, that's fine. Yeah. That's fine. I'll see then. Will you tell me your thoughts then? We're allowed to disagree. There's no problem with that. Tell me how you see the Hull C doing it then, since you see that
18-wheeler. It's an 18-wheeler or
just more volume, but the same thing as the B. Is that?
I would say a multi-system jump. Like I would say a Hull B is maybe more like an 18-wheeler sort of thing, or a Hull C is more like a Hull B is like a box truck, and the Hull C is more like an 18-wheeler, where it's going to go across a country or across a large amount of space, multiple cities, that sort of thing. So I see Hull C as being able to go from station to station, but also from system to system and multiple systems. So because it's got its size, its cargo, or its cargo capacity, and its fuel, it should be able to jump to multiple systems in a single kind of trip. So. And it's the standard, like the Hull C is the standard cargo ship. So if it's the standard cargo ship for the UEE, then it's got to be able to move from system to system. So.
And we saw a $150 price increase on this one, and Algrid, we just saw a price increase on this one as well. So it's now $50 in front. But where do you see the Hull D compared to the Hull C?
Hull D is if the Hull C is your semi-trailer, this is your road train. So it's again going system to system, but it's starting that multi-system jump. Whereas I think this one would go to places, could possibly go to the station, go to another station, jump, and where without needing to reload, take cargo. So yeah. It's just Hull C on steroids.
There's no reason we can't all be right here too, because it literally can just be based on how much you need to move, literally. So take everything we're saying here, not with a grain of salt, but like all being correct and all being wrong at the same time, because none of the a lot of these bigger ones are not in game yet. So the first one we've only got is the Hull C.
Well, there's only one of it, or two of them in game.
Yeah.
A and C.
The super cargo. What are those? Those giant cargo container ships.
Yeah.
Those giant container ships. That's what this is.
Now this thing is Hull limited. I don't even know if there's any of these still available. But yeah, like the value, they've actually said the value of the cargo that this thing is carrying is more expensive than the ship itself, which is crazy. That's how much cargo it's carrying.
I will say the one thing that I will note is that up to the Hull C, it's pretty small crew. Like I think a Hull C is like 3 people. Once you start getting into the D and E, you're starting to increase your cargo, your crew capacity pretty higher. Let me look at the E suggested crew capacity.
Yeah. But
I vaguely remember them saying that
it's 5. It's 5, 1 to 5. So
yeah, I get the feeling
and
that this is the thing that is literally going from one side of the galaxy to the other type of thing in just like a straight line, and it's stopping at like one station all the way along, and then just turns around and does it again. So yeah, this is just doing cargo en masse and dropping off big loads, and that's how it makes it money.
This is your org
Mm.
this is your org relocation ship.
Or
Load everything
definitely,
on and
or,
move.
or definitely at least
Um,
staying to safe space, and you know, like those common big systems that just move
yeah,
in volume.
going from Sol to Terra, and you're taking like spare parts. You know, you're not hauling, you're not making you're the cost of you. As with all the hulls, you're not doing you're not trading with the whole series, you're cargo hauling. So when you'll get missions to do those sorts of things. That's something that's coming up soon.
Yeah, that's really important distinction, because there's a lot of shop ships. Looks like they're coming down the pipe later.
Yep.
The Odyssey, the carrot killer, as they and it's really funny because like recently apparently they've actually changed on the website. I haven't looked at this, but a couple of people messaged me and say it no longer says mining under Odyssey. They've changed it because they never should have sold this as a miner. Algrid, I know you and I ran about this, so we'll let Paul talk about it first, and then you and I will pick up the slack. So Paul, you tell us about the Odyssey, because me and Algrid will just go into a rant. So
I mean, I had a very I took a very harsh stance on this ship, and a lot of people got pissed off at me about it. Which is the Odyssey is not a Carrack. It's not the Carrack killer. It's not even designed to function the way it is. And then CIG messed up the whole design because the miner itself can only mine Quantanium. So like effectively, the Odyssey is a somewhat in situ resupply ship for it's like an in situ resupply ship version of a Polaris without any of the guns. That's what it is.
All right,
it's the front cab of the Endeavor, and as a result, it's just kind of this weird position where it's kind of like the Carrack, but it doesn't have any of the advantages of the Carrack. The advantages it has more sits around its ability to go into a place and loiter there for long periods of time, and that's it.
Yeah. So I'll go
ship.
first, because I know if I don't, Algrid will just keep going, and he rants more about this than I do. So long story short, what we've concluded that this is this is a planetary explorer based around surveying, and it's connecting dots again, which is what me and Algrid do, between land claims, and the land claims actually mention a survey ship, right? And if you are if you are got a miner, but you cannot turn any of what you're doing into mining resources, why would that be? That's because you're taking core samples, and that shows what resources are in that location, right? So essentially you are taking core samples to find the amount of resources, then smack down a land claim, and then you sell that land claim, and that's how you make your money, right? So and this ship you can see in the gray box, not the, you know, when you're flying through ISC,
yeah,
it doesn't have a 3D map like the Carrack. It has a cartography table that tells you it's 2D, hence planetary. And then it also, behind the refineries, it has all these boxes that look like sorting boxes. So it goes in and it sorts out the different minerals that you've collected and gets percentages of them, so you can save that data. And then essentially you are selling the data along with the land claim to go, here's our research and data backup to sell with that item. And that's what they did wrong. The designers made this ship like that, and then the marketing team goes, but they want to buy explorers. So they sold it as an explorer and bullshitted us and not told us it was a survey ship. If they told us what it was, it would have sold a lot better.
Well, it is still an exploration ship. It's just exploration ship in the sense of a commercial exploration ship. It's designed for future settlements and resource gathering.
Commercial. I would have gone with industrial, but industrial commercial works as well.
Yeah.
And you know, the hangar feels. I don't quite understand why it needs a hangar, but yeah, Algrid, I know you're going to go on, but go ahead, Algrid.
Also, it needs a hangar because people love pocket carriers.
Okay. Right, Algrid.
Everyone wants their pocket carrier.
Got a hangar because people want a pocket carrier. Exactly what Paul said. Look, it's an explorer in parallel with a Carrack, but they are doing different roles. Carrack is doing system to system. It's got the jump point mapping systems. It's got all the tools to enable you to find the things lost in deep space. So it's your Deep Space Explorer. It's your deep space. It's your system deep space. Mapping tool. This is your planetary survey ship. Is the way we've seen it.
Yep.
Now that is speculation on our part, but it does, as Execute said, the dots seem to line up. But yeah, it's just missed opportunities on the
It's got
on the sale point for how it's sold.
massive VTOLs too. I should add that too. That backs up the interplanetary thing. I look, two positives for this. It's definitely going to make money in my book easier than a Carrack for two reasons. One, you are selling off, the land claims and I think the Carrack market from a human perspective is the most popular ship in the game. There's going to be far fewer of these in comparison. Right. So I think when missions come up, at least initially, it may peter out and change as more people change the game. But again, this is the capital. A Carrack is a large. So essentially by buying this, you can earn down to the Carrack. So, I'm very much torn waiting for this to come out. I've got a CCU from my Carrack to this, and I'm seriously thinking about applying it because I think this might be where it's at. Just from the whole earn down perspective. But again, I'm going to sit on it and wait, which I think is what I'd probably recommend. Would you kind of recommend that you two as well? If you have a Carrack and you were and ahhing, like just buy a CCU and sit on it and then wait and see what the Odyssey's like when it comes out?
Almost certainly. I don't think they're gonna fulfill the same role either. So I think a lot of people are going to be disappointed when they find out that they can't, that they're not going to be exploring jump points all the time, which I think a lot of people still think is going to happen. But and so they might be looking for, if you're that person who's like, oh, I want to find jump points, and you find out pretty quickly in the game, oh wait, jump points aren't like something you find a ton of. The only reason why you got that was a Carrack, then you might want to get one of this because it's more of a planetary explorer.
What if you put a smaller ship in the hangar and that's what goes through the jump point? Now that would work.
You do that.
Yeah. So the small ship can't get there itself, like a Terrapin as an example, but if you took it to the jump point, it could then navigate it. I could see that. Not as efficient as a Carrack, but... You're back, Alfred. Go ahead.
Every ship can discover jump points, and every ship can do that planetary survey stuff. Some ships are specifically designed to do those things better. Carrack is specifically designed to be able to do that jump point and deep space navigate exploration stuff. This is not a Carrack. It's got similarities. It's in the same vein, but it's doing a completely different job.
That's well said,
as you guys said. The other thing that really does. Sorry.
I said that's well said because that literally breaks it down. The Carrack is best at finding jump points and that spacing navigation. This is best at doing planets, but there's no reason both of them can't do part of the other's job, just not as well as its other counterpart. That sums it up nicely.
The other thing that I think feeds into our idea that it's that industry planetary survey ship is MISC itself. MISC is a an industry company. It's a heavy industry company. So to me, it just seems to blend in and work. So yeah, that's about all I've got.
All right, the Prospector, Daily Driver, beloved by many. For me, it's an earning game, but if it is your first ship, have at it. You'll have a lot of fun with this. Make a lot of money in game at the moment. I don't know, Paul. Would you agree with me on that one, or how do you take the Prospector?
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people are in the rush to get the most efficient, best ship ever, kind of thing. Prospector's never going to be that, and especially with mining, it's one of those things where it's just like, hey, you're just starting out, and you need something to do, grab it. It's a single player ship. It does fine for what you're going. You're not going to make $1 billion off of it or $1 billion credits off of it, but you'll do well enough that you'll be able to move up that chain to the next line and get more people and that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
Or get the Aristrata and they'll probably give you one as a loaner. Algrid, what's your thoughts on the Prospector, buddy?
It's a starter ship, so it's an industry starter ship. Bit like I thought the Hull A is an industry starter ship for cargo hauling. This is your industry starter ship really for whining.
Mm.
It's cute. It does the
Mm.
job. It's lovely.
Yep. All right.
Yep, done.
We'll move along to the Reliant series, of which there are 4. Straight off the bat, I'm going to say there was a buyer's guide done by Kodiak Gaming. They generalized gaming channel recently, and I watched their starter buyer's guide, and this is the one ship they forgot to mention. So they mentioned the Nomad, the Saulian, all the other starters, and they completely forgot this one. And they didn't. Maybe they deliberately just put it in because they were going to say it's trash, but they never mentioned it. So I just thought I wanted to bring that up. If they ever watch this video, I'm sure they won't. But yeah. Anyway, Algrid, tell me about the Reliant series, your issues with it, and where do you think it's at for this series of ships? And then I'll ask the same Paul.
It's a cargo. This version is a cargo hauler. It's effectively a starter ship. The price tells you that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 2-person ship. That's what was sold as its 8th in a hole. But the problem with it, it's just too big. The girth is just huge, and the cargo capacity is minimal.
Yeah. So it's also claimed to fame. Just real quick, is you can see here. This is its landing mode.
Rotate.
Yeah, and it rotates, and it looks amazing, right? But it's just too big.
It does look amazing,
as Algrid said. And you don't get enough cargo in it.
And when it's in flight mode, you can't. When it's in flight mode, your pilots can't get back into the back section, so it's a bit weird.
Yeah. So for an advanced starter, as they call it, it needs more cargo because it's actually got the same amount of cargo, I believe, as the Avenger off the top of my head, which is also the same price, but obviously it's 2-person and stuff like that. Where do you think it's at, Algrid, with these 4 variants?
The Mako is the combat variant. I do like
no, that's
that's
the Mako
Tana.
is the
the
Tana's
the combat.
I get them all.
This is the streamer variant.
Mako is the news.
Yep.
Yeah.
I call it the streamer, but
I always get them confused. I apologize. So I was thinking, Mako sharks. I think they're a Mako shark. But the Tana, the combat version, I do like that because you've got that turret with 360 view, which means your co-pilot could actually take that and actually hopefully use that to get behind you. It makes it quite unique in that regard.
Agreed.
The Mako is just your streamer variant, and the Sen is a science ship, the smaller science ship that we've got.
So where do you think it's at, Algrid, in short? Like, if you had to pick one of the variants, if you had to pick one, sorry, the Sen,
the Sen, the science version,
and
small science ship.
Yeah, it's the only other science ship in the game currently, but besides the Endeavor. So that science has just got so much more to
Although
come.
it does look like General Akbar there.
Yes, it does a little bit. Yes, a little bit.
It's a trap.
Trap. Right, Paul, where do you think it's at for the Reliant Tana?
I think it's the Tana, as you said.
Oh, the Tana? I said the Reliant Tana.
Yeah.
I said the Reliant, my bad,
No, but I think it's the Tana because the Tana is, it's like a baby Vanguard. It has a ton of guns. It has a second seat that actually can operate those guns. Then it's got beds, and it has a spot for like a small SU crate of cargo, so you can put like ammo and stuff like there. It's like you and your mate going out to do some bunker missions, and then do some bounty hunting in the side. Like this is the it's got some teeth. The only problem with it is that by doing so, the one disadvantage of this ship is its combat capability, because you blow off one of those wings, it's dead.
Yeah,
and it's got that huge like just got to hit that side and it's done. It makes a huge like it can easily get destroyed very quickly. So
yeah, it almost needs a way to
it's a good starter.
Rotate itself so it can pull the wings out of danger. That's how I would fix it. I would make it so it can just roll back. Yeah, just roll really quickly or something. So you like if you see a missile coming in, you can just roll and essentially dodge the missile or keep rolling. You know how like when you fly and as soon as you turn to the left, I'd love it if it actually just continually rolls around the co-pilot. I think that would be really kind of cool. So it's got this weird steering thing, if you get what I mean. So you could actually control it. I think that would also add to its visual appeal. But yeah, it did get a rework, like you said, and they added some cool little things like the cargo. They added a second turret to it and stuff like that. It is definitely a cooler variant. I do also agree with what Algrid said on the science version, because there's just no other science ship right there. And they talk
Yeah.
about it collecting plants and stuff and taking them back to the Endeavor and stuff like that. You can clearly see that as a thing. This one's a bit more of a gimmick where one of the turrets into a camera, so you can actually take footage from in-game and put it out to streams and stuff. So this is like a thing for the future. Do you know anyone that really picked this up, Paul, from
Here's the problem.
Yep.
The camera mode you can use is grainy and it has overlay.
It'll get fixed eventually.
So it's terrible for a camera, like for actually use the camera, not mode as a camera. I think the real way that this gets fixed is that you swap out the camera node for a small drone, which you detach and then kind of goes along, and you control the drone to like capture images. Because I think that would work very well for people who do in-game capture for.
I'm going to go further. Why not have
cinema
both?
And then also broadcast.
Why not have both, a drone and a camera on it? Like I'd have both. I think that would work, because then you could have the pilot as the camera operator, and you could also have the co-pilot as the drone operator. So you've essentially got a cameraman crew. I think that would work.
There's also a kind of station in the back in the actual cargo bay, which you could use to as the third person to operate the drone and the camera if you needed to. So
yeah, and if they don't implement those wing fixes, there's two other fixes, right? So the problem with this one from a cargo variant is it just doesn't carry enough cargo. So they've either got to put that in the wings, and if they don't want to put it in the wings, then the only other fix for this is to shorten and thin the wings, so it can basically not be this giant flying wing that gets shot like crazy. But that would change the ship quite a bit. And you can clearly, by the way, I don't know if you guys know this, but I believe the guy that invented this, he went off to work on Star Wars, right? And there is massive similarities between. I haven't looked it up, right? So I can't confirm this. But the guy that worked on this, it is so much like Ahsoka Tano's ship. I would not be surprised if it's not the same guy. So yeah, and he also invented this, and he invented the Mustang. I believe he did both of those, and I think there's one more, but I can't remember what it is. And he doesn't work with us anymore, but he's made some of the most interesting ships. All right. Yeah, for where it is at for me, I'm kind of a bit like the Freelancer. I think it's going to take time. Starfarer and Starfarer G, we can chuck these together. I'll just fill people in what the difference is. This essentially has a bigger gun, better engines and armor, but because of it, when it goes into atmosphere, it's got more weight. You can technically take the same amount of cargo, but because you've got extra weight, you more than likely going to come in like a rock, and you won't be able to get out if you don't get rid of that cargo. Where this one, actually in game, it's funny, this one's actually cheaper, but it comes with all the parts and components of this one. So it's a little bit like a Kraken versus a Kraken Privateer. You're getting all the upgrade parts with this one. And this one, you just get the refinery and stuff like that. So I don't know. I think it's buy this one, and then you get best of both worlds. But yeah, you guys tell me what you think about the Starfarer, and it is a bit of a mess at the moment, as well. But yeah, tell me.
Just internally, it's a mess. But the ship, its functionality is great. It doesn't have its functionality. Like, it doesn't really have its purpose. Its purpose is in pyro, as everyone said. Like even CIG said that its purpose is pyro.
Yep.
So.
It doesn't have all its gameplay yet either, does it, Algrid? So it's meant to have a fuel scoop for actually collecting and turning gas into fuel, and it doesn't have that yet.
Yep. And it was originally the first chip that could harvest and process Quantanium, but Quantanium is now a mineable product, not a gas, so that it lost that ability to harvest Quantanium. But it's still a great chip in terms of the role it's going to fill. The inside is a rabbit warren, and it is a rabbit warren because it was created as a PvP level, and it shows.
They've said that, haven't they? They said they're gonna they get round to fixing it. So yeah,
they have to. Yeah.
They do want to fix it.
Yep. On to Mirai. So we've only got two little ones to do here. So well, I guess we got all the Furies. So we got the Fury LX, and the Fury MX.
And the Razors.
Yep, we'll do the Razors after Furies. But yeah, the Furies for me are a snub. They're a bit of a pass for me. I think the only one of note is if you're into racing, really, unless you guys think different.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. The Fury, and I think it's the MX that are the ones with the missiles. Those are okay, but there's like the dedicated racing version, which is the LX, which is just good. Yeah, that's just the best racer.
Yeah.
The other ones are just nice little
Mm.
snub fighters.
No quantum drive, no jump drive, so it really is towed to a mothership, and they can't really do anything. And at $55, it's $10 more than an Aurora starter pack, and it's a standalone ship. That makes it $20 more than. I'd have to work out the price. I think it'd be $15. That'd make it $30. So that makes it like geez, $5 more than an Aurora. That's ridiculous. Yeah. Agrid, is there, you would agree with me and Paul on that one, and we'll go on to the Razor, or?
Apart from Paul's comment that it's the best racer.
As far as I understand, it's the best racer. Like, all the racers I know, you say that
it's got really good acceleration.
Yeah.
But in terms of being a racer, I'm just trying to think of. I was trying to go back and look at the Anzia's stats on the ships and how we group them into categories.
For instance,
and it doesn't have its own category. It's grouped in with other ship where it's comparable. So
I could just tell you right now, it wouldn't be any good in Scarlet Apex Racing because it doesn't have any guns. There is no perfect racer. I think there are different races for different races, personally. But yeah, it's still a good racer, but that's a bit it. The Razor.
It is a good racer, but it's not, and that's the thing with racers, like with Anzia, because we try to get every ship be able to race, we actually have different categories, and some ships, just because they're so good, are in their own category, whereas others are grouped with others, and the Mirai Furies are grouped with other ships.
So tell me about the Razor. Tell me about the Razor, Agrid, because I'm going to be honest with you. From my point of view, the Razor and the Razor LX are basically both racing variants, and I kind of find it weird that they
one's a racer, one's a dragster, as I understand it.
Oh, okay, that's it. That's the difference.
They're racers.
Yeah. Now, it used to be a Mist ship.
They're racing ships.
Yeah, so it used to be Mist, it's now Mirai. So, is it worth a purchase for you, Agrid, or is it too expensive?
For most people, it should be an avoid. It's just overpriced. If you're really into that and you really want it, then sure. But it's a single person ship. It's a racer. It's a high performance ship. But I think it's overpriced.
Paul, is there any lore on this thing? Is there any lore on this at all?
I mean, the basic lore is that it was built by one of the original founders of MISC, or not, like one of the CEOs of MISC that was trying to, like, hey, let's do something different. He was a really big race fan, so he built a ship for racing, and it was terrible. It never did well. And then after they had the negotiation with Aopoa, the kind of a future CEO went back and was like, hey, we had this old ship that we designed. Maybe we should apply some of that Xi'an technology to it, and for thruster technology. And then they did, and they did really well. That's pretty much the lore. It's more in depth than that, but like, yeah, there's a big Whitley's guide on it. So
for me personally, I think if you're ever going to consider one, it would be the EX for me. I think this is the ultimate stealth scout vehicle. It's quick, it's nimble, and it just gets in there, gets what it needs to find, gets that information. And any of you that have played any type of, base or hunting or survival games or anything like that, if you can see what the enemy has and where it's at, even just a sneak peek, it gives you the world. And I think this is what this ship is designed to do. Get in, low risk, because it's only one person you're putting at risk, low emissions, just gets in, gets what you need, and gets out. And I think this will be the ship for that. And again, it's an earning game, but I think this is where the Razor is at for me personally. I don't know if you guys agree with me on that, but yeah, let me know. What do you think?
Outside of racing, yeah, I think that's the best one.
Yep.
All right.
It's low risk for everyone except the pilot.
Yep, that's it. All right, so there's only one CCU today, and it's not the best, but it's a prospector upgrade. It costs you $5 to save $5. It's not, as I said, it's not the best, but again, that's pretty standard. So that'll be the kind of last one that we see of the CCUs. We will have one for Roberts Space Industries obviously tomorrow, but then it goes into the big day of CCU chaining on the 28th. So me and Agrid, I think you'll be, no, Space is there, not you. Paul, but me, Space, and Algrid will be doing the CCU guide on that day as well. Tomorrow we've got the RSI day, and then that's the last big day. But we've obviously got the Aristrata to talk about tomorrow.
Yep.
Is there anything would like to hear in the comments below about our crazy rantings, like endeavors and odysseys? Yeah.
I'll start with saying, what do you think the holes are? We had that disagreement on the holes. What do you all think the holes are in terms of like their roles in the verse? So,
yep. Agrid, what would you like to hear from people in the comments below?
Yeah, same thing. What are your views on the holes? And also, since we were talking the roles of the Odyssey versus the Carrack, what do you think of the roles of the Odyssey versus the Carrack? Are we in Crazy Town for Misk, or are we giving you the Gordo?
Yeah, and I'd probably like your honest opinion on the Endeavor. Like we've been recommending it for years. Is that Crazy Town, or is that $10 CCU like a good long-term investment? All right, with that then, he's been Astropub. He's been Algrid.
He's been executed.
He's been executed.
We'll catch you next one. That lag is terrible, Algrid. Bye.
I know. I was noticing it myself today. It's shocking.